Steve Gamache here. Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. This time we are checking out a super steel knife. This is the Sukenari ZDP Hairline Gyuto 210mm knife. It is composed of ZDP-189 powdered metallurgy stainless steel, which is one of the more recent super steels. It's got a great edge retention, very high edge retention, along with the ability to be heat treated to a very high hardness. So this is 65, 66 range hardness. It is quite hard. Again, very, very good edge retention on this. Yet it is reasonable on the stones, especially if you've got maybe some diamond spray or some CBN spray or something to assist you. But it's a really, really awesome steel. It's an expensive steel, hence the price of the knives. The weight on this knife is 132 grams or 4.7 ounces, so it's a fairly light, nimble knife. The blade length is 203 millimeter or about 8 inches on the actual edge, and the overall length a little under 14 inches for this knife. These dimensions might vary just a little bit from knife to knife. The spine thickness on this particular knife, coming out of the handle above the back of the edge, is about 2.5 millimeter, and these have a really nice distal taper to them. So it holds that a little bit, and as you get halfway down the blade, it starts to thin out a little bit, and then just kind of keeps going and thins out a little more till you get to the tip. The tip's not like razor thin, but it does thin down consistently all the way through there. It's just, you can tell this is a quality job grinding this knife. The blade height is about 47.2 millimeters, so some decent height to it. The handle is an octagonal rosewood handle with buffalo horn ferrule, and it's got some very good fit and finish to it. The handle install is nicely done. I'll show you a little different shot, but the handle is fairly elongated, so it's narrower than it is wide. So it's kind of skinny this way. The circumference, though, is about 3 inches right here where the ferrule and wood meet, which is a pretty standard size, but the handle, as I said, is a little different shape. Let's get a close-up look at this knife. These are just very high quality, highly crafted knives. You can just tell as soon as you pick them up. So this has an embossed kanji as well as the steel used to differentiate the knife lines. And you can see a close-up of the finish. Here is a generous amount of coarse steel showing, and you can see the cladding line there, which means that these get pretty thin at the edge. Let's take a look at that edge thinness, and you can see these do get pretty thin at the edge. They do flow through product quite nicely. They've got just enough thickness at the spine, and you can see again 2.5 millimeter, and then a really consistent taper down towards the tip. Not super razor thin at the tip, but yet really well done. So these have just enough thickness of the spine to give you a little bit of convexing in the grind, although you'll still get some product sticking just due to the style of knife. Very little wedging on this style of knife as well, one side benefit. Here's your handle, and you can see the more the elongated look to it, so it's taller and narrower as you're holding it. Fit and finish is top-notch on this knife. They've got a great polished and rounded spine, rounded features on the spine, as well as the back of the blade, the choil into the neck or imoto, into the handle. You've got just a little bit of the tang showing called the maki or machi, and that's kind of a classic presentation, and nothing wrong with that handle install. It's a more traditional type of install. I like that look personally, and a little bit old school. So this blade is, as I said, fairly thin. It's got a little bit of flex to it compared to some knives, but yet it's still fairly stiff. And balance point, let's back off just a little bit here. Balance point is just pretty much just in front of that choil on the back of the blade. And the out-of-the-box edge on this was very good. I'll give it a solid 6, maybe 7 out of 10. They paid a little bit of attention to the edge they were putting on this and put a really nice edge on it. So you're paying for quality craftsmanship here. As far as how this looks on a cutting board, you can see the profile does move into a fairly decent flat spot on this. Profile's real smooth, as you might suspect from a higher end and higher priced knife. They take the time to do things really well. So you've got a fair amount of belly towards the tip, you can get pretty high on this. I'm getting way up here before I start digging the tip in. So plenty of clearance. So this knife gives you a little bit of belly towards the tip for some rocking if you want to, along with it flow into a little bit of a flat spot towards the heel. So this is, I'd say, a fairly good all-around profile, one of the more versatile profiles that I've seen in a little while for a variety of techniques. So if you're looking for the Sukenari ZDP-189 and you're put back a little bit by the price of the Damascus version, these have very, very similar geometry at a more, a little bit less ostentatious presentation at a lower price. So you can still get into awesome steel, great craftsmanship. Again, a little different look, a little plainer look if that's what you're after, and save a pretty good chunk of cash at the same time. So here you have a really great knife. This is the Sukenari ZDP-189 Hairline or Kasumi Gyuto 210mm knife.